Dun, dun, dun. Hello?
Streamer. The mic does pick up, but if you push it up on the desk.
What? Oh, I see.
Yeah, it slides.
It's fine. Hello? Are we live?
Testing. Use your conversation voice whenever you're talking.
Alright. Just have this playing now. Alright, welcome everybody. This is Tenkai with my good friend Lark. We will be walking you through some of the basic mechanics and need-to-knows for Vampire Savior, also known as Darkstalkers 3 in America. Hey, what's up Insane Kill? What's up Skater? Yeah, I'm stealing Lark's computer, that's why my stream doesn't look like it's from like the Stone Ages right now.
Oh, I'm just gonna be pretending to help Sean. I'm just gonna be sitting here doing nothing.
Alright, well, I guess like for all the newbies, I'll start off with a brief introduction, since I don't expect everybody to know about this game. So this is Vampire Savior, right? Known in Japan. And in America, it's Darkstalkers 3. I don't know why they changed the names, but whatever. So, this game's been out for a while. It came out in Japanese arcades in 1997. And it was actually very different from a lot of the games at the time. It's much faster. It has mechanics like chain combos, dashing, air blocking. You can see a lot of it in this video. This isn't me, by the way. Super Turbo, it's very like ground game based. There isn't a lot of like defensive options. There's reversal DP, there's blocking, there's throw teching, then that's about it, right? So the charm of this game is the fast pace and the very individualistic characters with their own specialized set of tools and whatnot make this a very interesting game to watch and even more so to play. And coupled with the defensive options and the amount of different offensive options they can do, it offers a very thrilling and thought-provoking experience. So in many ways this game is very easy to play and to pick up, but all that is true because chain combos mean you can just jump in and match with your friends if you want. But at the same time, to play this game at a high level, it's very difficult. In terms of balance, I'll show you the tier list later, but on paper, if you just look at the characters' tools against each other, there's definitely like a power gap. Some characters have much higher damage output, much stronger tools, stronger normals. They have better ways to get out of pressure. While the more handicapped characters, they have to just sit there and take the beating. But that's only from a character standpoint. The main difference is that in this game, the amount of defensive options you have, which we will go over in great detail, it levels the playing field very much so, such that player skill ends up being the deciding factor through many matches. So yeah, the aim of this primer is to just give you a good idea of the options you have in this game. And learning to use these tools and to use them well will give you a strong edge in an otherwise disadvantageous, maybe character matchup or something. Because maybe you, like me, play a low tier character. Well, this will probably help you. So understanding the strengths and weaknesses of these mechanics will help you appreciate the game more, have more fun playing it, and you'll also have more fun watching high level matches, which I will link you to and whatnot in maybe throughout this little broadcast or in the forum. So let me jump into train mode while you guys watch this Jedi mirror.
Oh, is the Match video volume hell loud. Oh, we can actually, no, don't do that. Just go into the mixer.
Oh, the volume was too loud? My bad. Hold on.
Oh, there's like multiple.
Yeah, I got it. It should be muted now.
Fuck you, Ivan.
Ivan, you fraud! Should be over here. Who did I want to do this with? Let's see. I think I was going to pick. I think everybody or a lot of the people in the stream probably play Felicia. So I'll probably explain a lot of stuff using her. And since Lars plays Bishamon,
Change this thing.
yeah, I got it.
Beast of the Damned.
Alright, actually, hold on. Give me 1 second. I need to pull up some frame data. It will become helpful. Actually, let's do some BB HUD instead. Maybe not. Okay, well, whatever. We'll just jump right into it. Main stage. You can see my hands, we don't need those right now, so... yeah, this game is your basic Capcom game. I guess I'll set Lark on. Human. And we'll set speed to Turbo 6.
Turbo 6. That's the tournament standard.
Tournament standard. Alright guys, so it's a standard, Capcom fighter. Like the inputs that you'll see on the left side of the screen are the Felicia inputs, which I'll be using for a little bit. So you have your standard 6-button. What's up? Alright, so you have your 6 buttons, right? So you have Light Punch, which is Light Punch. Actually, I'll show you my hands because maybe people want to know where the buttons are. So the top left here is Light Punch. The middle is Medium Punch, and the top right is Hard Punch. So the bottom left is Light Kick. To the right of that is Medium Kick, and to the far right, the bottom right, is Hard Kick. So yeah, besides that, this game is played on, tournament standard is Turbo 3. That's the most fun. And normal looks really slow. It's not that cool. Not
playing
that interesting.
Molasses.
Yeah, we're playing Molasses here, man. Alright, so like many of you probably already know, fighting games in general, and this game included, runs at 60 frames per second. 60 frames. That number will be important when I start explaining some frame data. So you have the bars on the top. Well, you see the green bars at the top, right? That's your life bar. And when you... Hold on. Wait. Can I make him stop regenerating life? Whatever. Oh. Yeah, well, whatever. Okay, so I have to get rid of this for a second. So the life bar, right? Bring someone down to 0, and this won't really happen in training mode. But even if I bring Lark down to 0, he'll get knocked down, and he will lose a life that you won't see because they're not there right now. But what I want to explain is that in addition to the red light that you incur when you get hit, there's also this white flashing light. And what this means is that, I don't know what it's called, it might be like bleed damage or something. So basically, like, this is regenerating life. So if you're like constantly on the offense, they won't get this life back, but if you like let them sit for a while, then they'll regenerate, and you won't have done as much damage as you probably wanted to. So the thing about white life is that you can kill somebody, if their white life reaches like 0, right? So this is why offense is really strong, because you know, instead of like just bringing them down to like 60%, you just kill them like that. Gray life in SF4? I don't remember what it's called here. I guess I'll call it gray life. Or I can call it the flashing life. Alright, so no, in addition to white life and red life, on the bottom of the screen, you have your super bars, right? So, you know, the one I'm jumping on top of is mine, and on the bottom right, that Lark is jumping on top of is his. And these let you do like, you know, things super bar will let you do, like ES or EX moves, as they're known in Street Fighter, which is like super powered up versions of your specials and super moves, whatnot. They also activate Dark Force, which I will talk about later. And the funny thing about this, or the funny thing about Super Bar, is that you can actually stock up to 99 of it. But you know, that'll probably never happen. I don't think you can actually stock up to 99 before time runs out. But it is possible. Alright, so besides the bars, there's movement. You know, there's walk forward, back, down, crouch, jump forward, jump back, all the standard stuff. But there's also dashing in this game, as there are in many other games. So dashes are very different. I will touch on them more later. But pretty much everybody on the ground has like some kind of ground dash or some kind of, you know, ground run, that kind of thing. Both forward and back. And some characters in this game, they have an air dash. Neither of the characters on screen right now do, but characters like Jetta, QB, and Zabel, they all have air dashes. And even Valletta, she has a double jump. She's the only character in the game with a double jump. So besides that, next we can move on to normals. So normals are just like the standard buttons that you hit. Like, yeah, this is normal, this is normal, this is normal, this is normal. Basically anything that doesn't require like a special motion to do. And the thing about normals in this game is that you can actually chain them into each other. This is called the Magic series. And they will nicely combo most of the time. So how you do it is, well, let me explain the priority first. So the Magic series, like chain, it's from weak attacks to strong attacks. So you have your weak attacks, so put them in order. So the blue ones, like they're your jabs, your light punch, light kick, medium punch, medium kick, into hard punch, hard kick. That's the order. So these will go into each other. And you can pretty much just like skip. You can skip buttons in between. So you can do like crouching light kick, crouching hard kick if you wanted to. But you cannot go backwards. You cannot do crouching hard kick, crouching light kick. Just as well as you cannot do crouching light kick, crouching light punch. Because that is considered the opposite direction. It's punches to kicks. Like that. So, another thing to know about this game is, like Third Strike, whiffing normals that are not jab, that are not light punch or light kick, they'll actually give you beater. It's kind of a minor thing, but it can be very important when you start playing at a higher level. So next, we will go into... No, let's not do that yet. Should we do cancels now? I guess so. I guess we'll talk about some specials. So, you know, like Street Fighter and whatever, there are moves that are activated when you do a special, like directional, like sequence and a button. So like Felicia has like her forward circle forward medium punch, or forward circle forward whatever punches, and like dragon punch punches as well. Like, these are called special moves, right? So in addition to like these normal special moves you also have what are called in this game ES moves, which are basically EX moves in any other game. You do them by doing the same motion as you would for your normal special move, but hitting 2 buttons instead of just 1. So you can see Felicia's ES roll. And there are also supers. What's her super? I'll find it. let's just look it up. Where are you? Alright, EX moves. Okay, Dancing Flash. Half circle forward, 2 punches. Alright, so this is...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm missing one, yeah.
Oh.
Alright, so that's her super move. They don't look too much different from EX moves. It's like, you don't get an amazing ultra backdrop or anything like you do in SF4. But just know that there are like super moves and there are like EX moves. That's his. It's a command grab. And so the thing about these specials is you can actually like cancel into them. Like, you know, low forward into fireball, the reduce special. So crouching medium kick into fireball will work. You can see Felicia cancel her crouching medium kick into her roll. It doesn't combo, that's not, but I'm just like showing that is what happens. So what it means to cancel is that normally, after you do a move, you're stuck in this state called recovery, right? And you can't do anything about this recovery unless you do something like cancel, like a chain, or you cancel into a special. And it's worth noting that when you do a magic series, or a chain combo rather, you cannot cancel into a special like you can if you just did the single poke into the special straight up. So this can be a problem for some characters because, you know, they may want to combo into their special even off of like a chain or something. And this is especially important for characters like BB Hood. So BB Hood has her crouching medium punch, right? And she wants to cancel this crouching medium punch into her basket, which is cortical back punch. It's any punch. They combo with hard punch because they think that does the most damage or goes the farthest or something. So crouching medium punch into basket. Now if you do like this long chain and try to cancel it into the basket, it doesn't work. So how you fix this is that you're supposed to do something that's called a link. I can't. Come on. Okay, so what a link is after like you recover from a certain move. So you do a move. Stop it. That's fine. Alright, so you do a move and then you let it recover. And then after this move recovers, then you do the poke, the single poke that you want to cancel your basket from. So in this case, you're poking with the jabs, the light punches, and then you're doing a medium punch. But the timing can get tricky because of the fact that you're linking it, and you're not just canceling it straight up. Because if you cancel it, it doesn't come out, see? Now the difference between canceling and linking is canceling, canceling. The difference between chaining and linking is that when you chain, you are canceling the recovery. So in this case, the recovery from the jab into the medium punch. And this doesn't allow you to cancel into the basket because of the fact that it is a chain. Okay, Renda? Alright. Frame data time, fuck. Hold on. So in this game, or in fighting games in general, right? moves have this beginning animation called startup, you see. And what it is it's this like this. It is what sounds like. It is this startup time that your move has to go through before it actually hits somebody. So in this case, Valletta, her standing jab has a startup of 4, as you can see written here. So this 4 here means 4 frames. So it means 1, 2, 3. The first 3 frames are her just like sticking her hand out or doing nothing, and the 4th frame is where it hits. And in addition to, startup, it also has a certain number of active frames. So after your move goes through startup, it enters the active frame mode. So when a move is active, that's when it can hit somebody. So when you're seeing me hit him, it's like the move is going through the first 3 frames of startup, and then it's becoming active. Then we can outline, yes, but I'm not really looking at it. Or I'm trying to look at it. And in addition to after active frames pass, so startup and then active, you enter recovery, the recovery period. It's very apparent in moves in heavier moves like, no, that's a bad example. Yeah, I guess this is a good one. So me and punch, right? So me and punch has a startup of 6 frames, and so on the 6th frame it hits him, and then for the rest of the animation, she's in recovery. So she has to pull the basket back, right? And you can tell that you're in recovery because you aren't able to do anything, including jump. So you can see that after I hit him, then I can't jump for that certain amount of frames. It's because that is all recovery. So why is this important? Well, if you block, then you induce block stun, what's called block stun on the opponent. So if he blocks and then he jumps, then he gets, let's do this one instead. So when he blocks this move, I'm incurring a certain amount of block stun on him, but I also enter recovery. So because he jumps first, it means he exits recovery first. So that means after he blocks it, then I am still in recovery. After he recovers, I am still in recovery. So why is this important? This very long explanation. Well, there is this little mechanic in this game called Renda. So when you do crouching light punch and then hold up, it's fine. Now Valletta, she is plus frames, as you would call it. She does exit recovery before Bishamon does. But what happens when you chain 2 light attacks together, like crouching jab, is you actually force them into more block stun. So you get even more advantage. So the numbers are, when he blocks 1 crouching medium or crouching light punch, it's +5. So see, it's +5 because you jump first. But if he blocks 2, then it becomes +8. And it has to be a chain. It's just a special property of this game. So why is this important? Well, certain combos will require you to use the Renda bonus in order to link stuff. So if you do 1 jab and try to do her basic combo, like crouching jab or crouching light punch into crouching medium punch, it's really hard. It is possible, but it's actually a 1-frame link. I'm just gonna give up. But with Renda, the hit stun from the crouching jab, the crouching light punch, goes from +6 to +9 or something. And this extra 3 frames gives you enough time to link the crouching medium punch, which is what you need to chain into the basket. But I still can't do it. Okay. So, well, that was relatively advanced for what I wanted to go through right now, but okay. So besides, you know, all the stuff about normals and renda, you know, there is all your traditional fighting game stuff like blocking. Like certain moves will have certain properties associated with them. Like Valetta's crouching leg kick has the low property, meaning he cannot block it unless he is crouch blocking. He has to block low. Certain moves have the high property, such that Valletta will hit him unless he is blocking it high. So this move, which is her dash forward medium punch, it's not a very good move, but it is what is called an overhead. It hits high. So if he's crouching, he will get hit by it. If he is standing, he can block it. And other moves are called mid attacks. You can block them either crouching or standing, like Valetta's crouching jab, her not that one. Her crouching jab, her standing jab, all these are mids. And in addition to that, in this game, does everything get plus 6 frames of hit stun? No. There is a chart somewhere on Mizumi. You can look for it somewhere here. Not everybody has the same amount, but everybody does have a renda of some kind. It's important to just look at the frame data for your own character and figure it out that way. So in addition to that, in this game there's also air blocking. So besides blocking on the ground, you can air block. Now this is very useful because unlike in games like Street Fighter, you know, jumping gets you killed. But in this game, jumping is very good. It's very useful because, you know, you can still block and you can also offer like different like attack routes. Like just from jumping, you don't really make yourself vulnerable. So you do have like this entire like playing field that you can work with. I'll go over the block translator. Although the weakness to air attacks is that even though you can block in the air, or you can block air attacks in the air, you cannot block ground attacks. So against someone that is really like looking for your jumps, he might like put himself in a position where he like reacts to your jump and hits you out of it. Okay, so besides blocking, next we have throws. Now throws, they are done, normal throws are done using the direction, like forward or back, and the throw button, which is either, depending on the character, medium punch, or rather medium punch and or medium punch and or hard punch, or for certain characters they will have a throw associated with their kick buttons, which would be medium kick or hard kick. So Valletta only has punches, punch throws. So hold direction, and throws are unblockable. So when your opponent has to worry about like this silly high-low stuff, then you can throw them because they're unblockable. Now, the thing about throws is that they can actually be teched. Yeah, throw button only varies depending on your character. So certain characters have kick throws, certain characters only have punch throws. Characters with kick throws also have punch throws. Alright, so if you and your opponent both throw at the same time, or relatively the same time, well, I'm gonna jump in and throw. Yeah. Can we get rid of that? Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
I'm gonna jump and do it. No, I didn't go over quick blocking yet. Yeah, so it's like that. If you throw at roughly the same time, then the opponent will soften the throw. So Bishamon will still take some damage, like you can see it there, but it's less damage than the normal throw. And this is important because from a normal throw, he gets knocked down. But from a tech throw, or if he tech throws me, then you know, he's in a standing position already, so he is not as vulnerable as he would as if he just, you know, took the throw by itself. Now, in addition to ground throws, there are also air throws. Now, air throws aren't actually that easy to do in this game because they're very dependent on like height and how close you are to the opponent. But certain characters have an easier time air throwing based on how their jump arc kind of interacts with the opponents. You can also air tech throws. It's kind of hard to like time it, but yeah. Well, I did it there. Very good. Okay, so in addition to normal throws, so ground throws, air throws, everybody also has a command throw. So the motion kind of varies depending on the character, but generally it is half circle back and a certain button, either like medium punch, hard punch, or like medium kick, hard kick. So in Baletta's case, it's half circle back into medium punch, or medium, or hard punch. Now the thing about command throws is they actually do have a little more startup than normal throws. Like normal throws are basically instantaneous, see. But although you might not be able to tell, command throws have startup, like Baletta's is about 5 frames, I believe. But despite the startup, they cannot actually tech command throws. So it's very strong to integrate in your game. So what you give up in terms of speed, you gain for it in terms of like throw tech invincibility. And a lot of command throws by themselves are also throw invincible. So if your opponent thinks that you're going to throw him, like normal throw him, and he tries to throw you first, then your command throw will beat him out of it. Unless, of course, he just hits you first, which would be the case when he hits you during the startup. Alright, so along with command throws and normal throws and whatnot, we also have this special category of attacks called pursuit attacks in this game. So in this game, when you knock someone down, like you can see him knocked down in this state where I can't actually touch him until he gets back up, I can do this thing called pursuit attack. Now pursuit attacks, the input kind of varies, but generally it's up and either punch or kick. In Baletta's case, it's up and then punch. You see, she does a little follow-up attack. Now these attacks, they only induce white light damage. So they can be good in getting the final hit. I mean, if it'll close out the game, then by all means, please do go for it. You also have an ES version of it, which is just up and the 2 buttons you need for the pursuit attack. Now, in addition to using this just to get more damage, you can do pursuit attacks late, because the pursuit attack input will register as long as he's like knocked down on the ground. But remember, she still has to travel to him. So instead of, you know, doing it early to get that meager amount of damage that might not mean anything because it just regenerates anyway if you don't keep the pressure on, you can do the pursuit attack late such that it lives. And by doing this, then you will end up right in front of your opponent as he gets up, and you'll be able to start the pressure again. Oh, that was too early. Oops. And so on and so forth. This is a very useful offensive tool to get close to your opponent when you knock him down. Yeah, okay, you see Bishamon's.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, Bishamon, like, he can cross you up and then it'll just like be a nightmare for you. Alright, and we also have in this game these special attacks called guard cancels. So what guard cancels are when you're blocking, they let you do a special attack outside of it. Hey, what's up, Dyer? I don't like Baby Hood. It doesn't matter which character we use. Let's use Felicia since everybody uses Felicia in the stream chat.
Guard cancel. Okay. I'll do
do the dashing thing.
Oh,
dashing.
yeah. Block standing, it'll be 3 hits.
Yeah. So, guard canceling. It's an attack that you are able to do outside of like while you are blocking. So normally you'd have to be forced to like take these 3 hits. Even though you're blocking and it doesn't do damage, it's fine. Like you won't take damage. But if you want to just like get out of it, you can guard cancel. So the input for guard cancel is you do the Dragon Punch motion, which is forward, down, down, forward, and then the guard cancel button, which may be punch or it may be kick depending on the character. In Felicia's case, it's a kick. And you can only do it when you are blocking a move. And it is important to know that guard canceling, you can only input it within the first 14 frames that you like enter block stun from a move. So it is very difficult to guard cancel single hit moves. Okay, we got it. So we finally got it. So it's very difficult because you cannot actually react to blocking something with guard cancel. Because human reaction time, like the pinnacle is essentially about 15-16 frames. So if you only have 14 frames to input the entire guard cancel motion, then by the time you see yourself blocking something, it'll be too late. So in that sense, you have to basically guess or read when you're going to enter block stun from a move. And kind of do it in advance. There are shortcuts for it though. For example, if you do starting from forward to down back, if you do this motion, and then you block when you reach this crouching block motion, then all you need to do is do down forward and then the guard cancel button in order to get the guard cancel out.
Alright, I'll jump in. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so there you go. I don't actually like this method of advanced guard canceling myself because it kind of requires planning. You have to really anticipate that you're going to be blocking something when you reach the down back input. Because if you don't, then you're kind of just you won't have the guard cancel input in the buffer for very long. Alright, next we have show us your hands. Oh, okay. I guess we'll do it this way. Let's do the normal guard cancel first. So just do the dashing attack. Alright, so that's the normal version. I'm going to try the buffered version now. So do the jump and thing. Yeah. So in slow motion I did it like this. And then I blocked and then I did that. Alright, Dark Force. Dark Force is a special mechanic in this game, especially that every character has, but they do different things depending on what character you play. So in Felicia's case, she summons this little cat thing that jumps at them whenever you hit a button. And yeah, the height or the distance that she travels, the little cat travels, depends on the strength of the button you hit, I think. Now the thing about Dark Force is that they are invincible on startup, so when she's making that pose, she is invincible. Well, I'm gonna jump in and do it.
Isn't it like lantern cover? Makes you dash.
Okay. Oh. Come on.
I'll knock you down and you do a wake up.
I can't actually reversal it, but whatever.
Oh.
Okay, whatever. 1. Wait, I need these. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see? His first attack whiffed because she was in that beginning pose. Now this might make it seem like it's a good option to, you know, call out moves and punish them. And in some very specific cases it is, but it really just depends on the character. Because the problem with like Dark Forces is that you see this time bar at the top. When you run out, then you go into the recovery state, and you know you cannot block in this recovery state. So you see when she's like making that pose, I could not block. Well, I should tell you how to do it. Dark Forces, you basically do a punch and kick of the same strength together. So you see this is with the jabs, this is with the medium level attacks, and this is with the hard level attacks. Now every Dark Force, or no, it depends on the character, but some characters have more than one kind of Dark Force depending on which strength you use. Felicia, they're all the same. When I say using Dark Force is useful or useless, it depends on the character. Rikuo and Jedha have the best Dark Forces in the game. It's best, like, if you can help it, try to not use Dark Force when you're beginning until like you have a basic grasp of all the other mechanics of this game. Alright, so now the good stuff and the very hard to explain stuff. There's something in this game called push blocking, or it'd still be called tech hitting, but basically what it does is when you're blocking an attack, you'll push your opponent away. Very like Marvel style, see? It's not as easy as it is in Marvel. And I'll explain exactly like what the mechanics behind it is in a bit. So, dark or push blocking, how you do it is from the moment you enter block stun, you have a 12 frame window to input as many buttons as you can. And depending on the number of buttons that you hit, the random chance of you getting a push block increases. So for the first 2 buttons that you input in that 12 frame window, okay, yeah, you got it. So for the first like 12 frames, in this, you know, or for the first 2 buttons you get in this 12 frame window, there's a 0% chance. So no matter how many times he's like mashing at me, I can't actually like, I can't push block with just 2 buttons. So with 3 buttons, you have a 25% chance.
Luckily this move is 3 hits.
Yeah. And so for 4, which is the amount that I would say at least 90% of Vampire Saber players use, if not like 99%, 4 gives you 50%, which is a pretty reasonable number. You'll get half of the time. Now 5 is when you're really serious. Now 5 gives you 75% chance. And 75 is pretty reliable if you ask me. Most people don't go for 6 because it's difficult. Or I wouldn't say most people, but a lot of people that do this method that I do, they don't go for 6 because it's hard. And it's hard to get the 6th input in that 12 frame window. I think for this method, which I'll go into detail in a bit, you'd have to like palm it or something. So 5, which is pretty good amount. Gives you a 75% chance. And if you mess up, then you might get Dark Force. Alright, so
Talk about overlapping inputs.
oh yeah, overlapping inputs also don't work. So, like, the first instinct some people might have is, oh, I should just hit all 6 of them.
Just with your whole hand.
Yeah, just like slam your hand on it, see. Alright, so go ahead and do the dash attack at me.
You gotta do it rapidly, man. It's not working.
There. Alright, yeah. You can cancel, I forgot to mention, yeah, you can cancel Dark Force preemptively by just hitting the Dark Force activation button again. Remember, you still have to like go through the recovery state. But if you accidentally get Dark Force, and you somehow knock down your opponent, do take the opportunity to get out of Dark Force. Yeah. Alright, so I actually have a video for Slide, and I have Chloe's video.
Oh, you can just send a model. Oh,
Wait, no, I don't.
Okay, so,
Well, it's pretty big. So it's worth showing this video because it explains it much better than I can. Or it illustrates it better. Shoutouts to Corey, my GGPO friend, for making this video. This is the method that I use. LK, LP, MP, HP, HK. So this 5 inputs gives you 75% chance. I find it very reliable, and I'll talk about that distance later. And you don't actually have to move your hands that much, which is very nice. Oops. No. Well, it cut off at the bottom a little bit, but all it said was you slide from LK to HP and back twice. Yeah, this is a lot easier, but I don't like it personally. But if it works for you, then by all means do it. Alright, I'll make this a little bigger. Alright, so I'm going to try showing you how I do it with this. So go ahead and just do a single attack. Now, I'm not perfect at this, as you can see by my very sloppy inputs. Okay, before I talk about the method exactly, I forgot to mention something about the push block distances. So when you push block, your opponent will not always go the same distance, like away from you. Now the distance that he goes away from you depends on the button strength that the game registers your push block on. So for example, if I do push block sequence and the game registers the push block on a jab or a light kick, then they'll end up very close because those are the lightest attacks. So, how would I do that? I guess do the multi-hit. Yeah, right. Alright, so that's the light version. I'm gonna do the medium version now. Do it again. Okay, do the hard version. Alright, it's very slight between the light and the medium. Oh, my bad. Let's do that again then. Alright, so light, medium, hard. Okay. Right, so like in most cases, you will want to do the push block and have it register on maybe either the medium or preferably the hard level of inputs. So you get the maximum distance. Because remember, push block is a defensive technique. So you want to create as much space as possible for you to, you know, think about your next move or to put your opponent in a bad position. Because if you just push block with jab, then they might end up too close, or they might end up closer than you want them, and you might still have to be forced to defend.
I didn't know that she had that.
Yeah, she just jumps on your head. So once again, how I do it, or how I prefer to do it, is I have my thumb on light kick, my index finger on light punch, my middle finger on medium punch, my ring finger on hard punch, and then I hit with my pinky the hard kick button. So I do it like this. Now, I have small hands, so I can use my pinky, but I have a friend who says like it's impossible because, you know, he has like really big hands or something. So what he does is he does the first 4 inputs the same, but then he brings his ring finger down. Now it's worth knowing that, remember, it's a 12 frame window after you enter block stun from a move. So if you're like push blocking a single hit move, then you don't actually have time to react, see yourself block, and then input the push block. Because remember, human reaction time is like 15-16 frames at the fastest. So by the time you register yourself with your eyes blocking, then it'll already be too late to input the push block. So you have to, like with guard canceling, you have to basically guess / read / yomi when you're going to enter block stun from a move. And that comes from experience and from your opponent being like too predictable. Because a special thing about push block that's, I guess, a little bit hard to explain is if you're blocking a multi-hit move and you're inputting push block, then as long as you do not exit block stun, it will keep all of the push block inputs for you. Which is why, even though I'm mashing jab, like I can't hit jab 6 times in 12 frames, that's like impossible, right? But if he does the multi-hit dash attack move, then I can input jab enough times to get the push block anyway. So it's good to know, but in most cases, like, you'll want to practice push blocking one-hit moves. And even if like your opponent is always doing multi-hit like airtight strings, you want to practice the proper method anyway. Let's move on. Actually, let me show this quick video of Sako first. So I forgot who it was, but someone at Revelations 2 years ago or so recorded footage of Sako's hands as he was playing Vampire Savior. And if you look really closely, you'll be able to see him like do a push block input. You have to pay attention. Like he did it twice right there. 1, 2. Slow motion? No, you have to see how fast it is.
Okay.
Yeah. He uses the piano method. I basically stole my method from him.
Come on, Sako. Stop being offensive.
Start blocking.
Stop blocking.
Please.
Start blocking.
There you go. right there. Yeah. Okay, as you can see, it's kind of hard to follow if they're doing it really fast and you're not really paying attention. But it's important to do it fast, because even though clean inputs are very important, you don't want to be so slow as to miss the 12 frame window. I'm always afraid to push block start with LK, afraid I'll get Dark Force. I still get Dark Force, but just man up. That's all I can say. The reason why you should start with LK or another light attack, a jab, is because, remember, in order to push block, you have to actually block something. So if they delay their attack such that you do not block it and you do something like this, like instead of, yeah. Well, maybe if you jumped at me. Yeah, like if I thought I was gonna push block something and I started with that, then I would be very vulnerable. Whereas if I just did a light kick, well, okay, well, you get the idea. You recover a lot faster from a light kick. So it's kind of a plan B on the off chance that you do not get a push block. Because obviously, if you're inputting this, you want the push block. But just in case you don't, you'll get this relatively harmless crouching light kick move. Does it work if you do HP, MP, LP, LK in that order? Yes, it works. But I would not recommend it because you start with a very heavy move. And if you do not block something, then you leave yourself pretty vulnerable. I also do not recommend it because, remember, the first two inputs are dropped. Or rather, there's 0% push block chance. So your hard punch and your medium punch are both 0%. So in other words, you're going to get your push block on either the light punches, on the light punch, or on the light kick. And you can see from that one just now, he's still close enough to hit me with the last attack, see? Which kind of defeats the purpose of push blocking. Not entirely, but you do want to push them as far away as possible. Okay, now it's for the more complicated part. So, the advanced section. Now, game flow. Now, this game, it's a very offense-based game. Like, because of the inclusion of white life, and because of how fast it is, it's very difficult to defend against all this pressure. So, all of this relentless attacking, it's like, what do you do about it, right? Now, to put it concretely, the number of, you do have many offensive options. So some of them include the basic fighting game mix-up, which is poke, throw. You have the lay poke throw. Because if your opponent thinks you're going to throw them, then they may try to throw you back, right? But you punish their throw attempt by just hitting them, before you get in range, and then you throw them or something like that. It helps that the jab attacks in this game, or the light attacks, the light punch and light kick, they have a lot of frame advantage. Like Felicia's, I don't know what the number is, it might be +5 or something. So in other words, it's 5 frames where you get to move before they do, and this makes a big difference for staying up pressure. Now remember what we said about dashes? Now, there are different types of dashes, right? Like, Felicia has an aerial dash, Bishamon has a ground dash. So for Bishamon, in addition to the poke throw mix-up that he can do, he can also dash and poke, and then dash and throw you. So, while poke throw may seem relatively harmless from this range, someone like Bishamon, he can cover the distance really quickly, and then start his offense right there. Now, Felicia has a different kind of dash, and a kind of other characters also share. she has a hop dash. Now what this means is that she is airborne when she is dashing. So block Lark? So since she's in the air and air attacks are highs, Lark has to block the dash attack high. And you know, this stuff is really hard to react to. Like if you're doing low, high, high, low, high, low, high, low, then it's very difficult to get out of, right? And you can also mix in throws. So utilizing frame advantage is important. Now, besides, you know, just dashing and hitting buttons and, you know, punishing them for blocking poorly or whatnot, you can utilize another game mechanic to improve your pressure, and that's Renda, which we discussed earlier. So remember, Renda gives you more frame advantage, which means you can move before your opponent can move, like even more so. So if you're doing like this poke pressure, and then like Bishamon is like counter poking you because he thinks you're gonna like throw him or something, or he like throws you first, then you can start using Renda, and he'll be forced to like take the pressure or get hit. I'm just bad at it. Yeah, something like that. In that same exact situation, if I just did a poke throw, he would have hit me out. Also, what makes poke throw even more threatening is inclusion of, you know, if someone is going to like poke and then throw you, what are you going to do? You might want to throw break. Now the problem with throw breaking is that every character has a certain throw that cannot be, you know, throw broken. In this case, Felicia's command throw, and most characters' command throws. They cannot be teched, and in Felicia's case and most other characters, they are also throw invincible. Yes, Insane Kill, I was about to talk about that. Push blocking is very important against Renda. And of course there is also the, you know, the very obvious like jump in. When you jump in on somebody, then you end up right next to them. And you know, from there you can just like poke and then like do whatever you want. So with all these, you know, these offensive options, what do you do against this barrage of death that's coming your way? Well, this is where defense is important. Defense is probably the hardest thing about this game. Because in such a fast game, with all these different like attack patterns, it's much easier to go crazy and attack than it is to defend against such an attack. So with that in mind, you need to know exactly what you can do. So against, you know, offense on the ground, you know, you have the obvious answer, which is patiently blocking. Okay, what's up, Diane? You know, you can just block. You know, block. You know, this is better than, you know, taking damage, right? And if you're lucky, your opponent might like push himself away and whatnot. Although if you just block and do nothing about it, then you open yourself up to certain mix-ups like the poke throw we were talking about, for example. So this is, while blocking is important and you have to know when you should do it, it's not the most optimal strategy. But for beginners, you know, when you're just starting out, most people will want to like just do their chain combos, right? Like on hit or block. If you just patiently block, then it's not really a problem. Does VSAT have chip damage like all other Cal combos? Yeah, it has chip damage. You can see it in the white light there. Like, chip damage is only done in white light. And you can kill with it. So yeah, if you just patiently block and your opponent has committed to this long string, then you have essentially pushed him back, and now you are free. You have all this like breathing room to think about your next attack, or what's going to happen next. Did I talk about guard cancels? Briefly, I'm going to touch on them a little bit more. So your next anti-ground defensive option is counter poking. So if someone is just walking up to you and doing like this move, for example, then depending on the move, there might be like a big gap where like he pushes himself like really far away, and then he wants to like come back for more. But you can probably poke him as he's moving back in. Yeah. And then move in. Yeah, you can poke him. Did I talk about Anacrus? Yeah, he sucks.
Oh, he can't push block.
Alright, later do the Humpty Dump. No man, Anacrus is great. He doesn't need to push block because he push blocks himself. All the way to the other side of the screen.
He just goes to across the other screen. Bullshit, right? Top tier.
Yeah, top tier in CFJ.
We talking about Jetta, right?
Yeah, so is Jetta.
Yeah.
Alright, so the thing about counter poking is that you have to know when you should do it. You know, one good time to do it is when you push yourself too far away, is when your opponent pushes himself too far away and wants to go back in for some more pressure. Then you may have the window you need to poke in that, in that time frame. However, if he's not, committing to this long string that pushes him back, and is instead doing this kind of dash jab pressure, then remember, like, this jab has a lot of frame advantage. So all of his counter poking attempts will lose if I time it right. Yeah. So it will lose to staggered attacks, which are attacks that leave small gaps for you to hit buttons in between, but they will hit you during your startup. Because Felicia has frame advantage, so she recovers first, so she sticks out her attack first. So her attack becomes active first, which means Bishamon's attack is still in startup.
It's gay. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna push you mid-screen.
Alright.
I feel like James Chen, how does he play? Alright, jumping and air blocking. Alright. So, jumping is also good in this game for staying position. So is backdashing. Like, if your opponent does a fairly long string, maybe, and you don't really want to sit there and continue blocking, after you block the string, you can try jumping away. And your opponent has to chase you, but your opponent won't really be in a position where he can really continue like the relentless pressure. But of course, this will also lose to certain strings or certain attacks that are baiting you to jump. Like if Felicia does like a crouching jab, for example, and the opponent is holding up back, then she can preemptively stick out an attack and hit him as he's trying to jump. Like that. And when you hit somebody in the air, you put them in this air reset state. And when they're in that reset state and they land, then they basically just got knocked down. Except they cannot ground tech. Which reminds me that I forgot to mention ground tech. Alright, so knock me down. So when you knock down, like most fighting games, you're invulnerable and you can just wait and you'll get up again. But in this game, when you're on the ground and you hold or you hit a direction and a button, then you can move in that direction as you're like recovering from your knockdown. So that's me teching backwards. and that's me taking forward. Now this is very important because if there was no ground tech in this game, then characters would have very strong okizeme games. So in other words, like if everybody knew where you were going to get up, then they would be able to like set up an attack at that exact spot when you do get up. So to prevent that, you get to mix up where you're going to get up. And in doing so, you will throw, or you will keep your opponents from, completely destroying you as you're getting up. Provided they do not guess your roll correctly. But there are 3 different rolls you can do. So the odds are kind of in your favor. There are certain maybe option select options that characters have, but it's not nearly as bad as if you had to just, get up normally all the time. So, in addition to the whole jump back to get away from pressure after you block it thing, remember that in addition to, as well as creating distance for yourself, you will also, remember you can air block in this game. So if I am pressuring him and he jumps away and I jump to chase after him and do an attack, then he can still block it. Just as soon as I figure out what move to use. Now this can be very useful because when you block in the air, there is very little block stun. So in this situation, where I do an attack but he blocked it.
Yeah, that's one option.
Yeah. Alright, well, we can't really demonstrate it very well. But you can see that he came down with an attack, and I basically had no choice but to block it. So this option gives him the momentum. So instead of me launching my own offense on him, if he jumps air blocks and comes down with his own attack, and I block it, then his turn starts. Now, I have a video here. Why is this highlighted? Alright, oh yeah, I do have a video. So this... Whoa. Over here, yeah. So this is a pretty good example of what I was just talking about. Is it? No, it's not. But, oh yeah, it is. Okay. So, obviously, there is a weakness to this whole air blocking shenanigan. Now, you may think that just because they can jump back and air block whatever, that they'll be fine. And if you're careless, then they will be fine, and they will get their offense started on you. But remember, you can chain in the air. So if you can play your character in a way that you jump with them and put them in an air block string, then if you land first, then you can anti-air them because they will still be in the air. So just hold up back. Like that. Because since they're still in block stun, they can't retaliate. Now this requires pretty good timing on the attacker's part. Because remember, you cannot block ground attacks while you're in the air. And you can see it done very well by this Arzable player here. In this very high pressure situation, Felicia wants to get out, so she's pretty much just holding up back because she wants to wall jump or jump forward or something, but he's not having any of that. Granted, this chainsaw move that Zabel has is very suited for this kind of purpose, other characters do have their own options, their own ways of inducing air block stun and landing first. Alright, so next on, ground defense, you have guard cancels. Now, we talked about earlier, you block something, and then you input a dragon punch motion as you're blocking. Now, this does require, some, quick hands, because you do only have 14 frames if you were to guard cancel a single hit move. But like push blocking, if it's a multi-hit move, then you do, have that extra time to input the thing.
Phone. I don't know who that is.
An 800 then?
I don't know. Well.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know who that was. But anyway, you have 14 frames to input a guard cancel, right? So if you're guard canceling single hit moves, then it requires a lot of planning and a lot of commitment, because it's relatively difficult to pull off from just a crouching position. From there. Lark had to take a call. Yeah. You really have to know when you're going to enter block stun. Like, I knew when I was going to enter block stun, but it was still hard, see? So this is why guard canceling, while it is useful, it is difficult to execute.
Oh.
Let me change characters. Let's do that.
Celebrate.
Celebrate. Except, wait, I don't remember what her thing was called. It's not Shadow Blade, that's...
Shining Blade.
Shining Blade, right.
What do you want me to do?
Oh, nothing. We were just talking about guard cancels. Alright, actually, wait. This is worth knowing. So guard cancels, they can actually whiff on certain characters. Wait, no, not this character. Someone asked if they got your ringtone right. I don't know if Lilith's guard cancel whiffs on B, but I know whose does.
Yes, Cosmic Lullaby, you are right.
Okay, let me just do it this way. Wait. Alright, so I'm gonna try guard cancel this. Come on.
Wonderful.
Even if I don't get hit, it'll still whiff. See? It's not cool. How's the EX one? Nah. Alright, and in addition to whiffing certain characters, the guard cancel attacks do have startup, and it's not very fast on the most part, I believe. So if someone jumps in on you and you try to guard cancel their jump in, there is a chance that they might block it if they they attack you low enough to the ground.
I think Bishamon's the fastest.
Yeah, I did hear Bishamon's
It's like 6 frames, EX is like 5 frames.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, so we can see, nope, that's not it. We can see exactly where guard canceling can be not so good for you. So you tried to guard cancel the jab,
Kaji, no!
it got blocked, and it gets ready. Because when you block it, I don't believe guard cancels are safe, you know. So stuff like this is going to happen if you become too careless.
Dine, please.
It's okay, Dine. I feel your pain. Alright, so that leaves all but the most important option. Oh, well, besides uppercut, you know, but not everybody has uppercut. So we already talked about push block, but to go into a little more detail, you know, this is how ground pressure can look like, for like certain characters. Like a lot of staggers, but you know, staggers do have weaknesses because they create gaps. So you know, you might get counterpoked or whatnot. That was really sloppy looking, but whatever. So some people, when they're doing their dash pressure, they won't want to, you know, take that abuse. So they will start using Renda in their little pressure strings, which is where guard cancel comes in. Guard cancel.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry, I didn't mean guard cancel. Push block.
Oh. Honorable. It's been a while. I got you.
Alright, yeah. See. Alright.
My goodness.
Yeah. So yeah, if your pressure strings, or if your opponent's pressure strings become like too predictable, such that, you know, since you're blocking patiently and, you know, this garbage isn't working, and they start doing stuff like that, then, you know, they can just block it.
Fuck.
Or they can Dark Force.
My Dark Force godlike. Got the super armor.
Yeah. But anyway, my point still stands. Push block, very good.
Very good.
Very good. You push your opponent away. So let's just like show the distance again. You do it this time. Alright, yeah. Now this distance, right? If someone like Bishamon is going to do like dash jab, then he might be saying for a tick throw. But you see, if you push block the jab, then, you know, he won't be in tick throw distance. So you get to think about how you want to like get out of the corner, or how you want to like counterattack in that situation.
Oh, that was like a late tech hit.
Yeah. Even without Renda, like push block, if you can push block single hit attacks, it'd be extremely beneficial. Because you'll definitely throw your opponent off the rhythm. You see right there, I lift the dashing medium kick.
The jab version. Oh, that was the strong version.
Hold on. Try push blocking and then doing like crouching strong or something.
Perfect too early. Okay, you should do this shit.
Okay.
Oh wait. Okay.
God damn it. Oh my god. I'm so bad at this game. Yeah.
Oh, there you go, see?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
1 out of like 50. So, you know, since push blocking pushes them away from you and also like reduces some block stun, maybe I didn't mention that, but it does. Push blocking reduces block stun. And it pushes them away, so if they try like redash for another attack, then you can perhaps launch your own counter attack. Now this option as you saw earlier, it's being my staggered attacks.
Yes.
Which I have a very hard time push blocking. So here I am, like missing all these push block attempts, and Lark is like hitting me for all of them. Just do dash jab over and over.
It's not that plus. That's why you can't do dash jab.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that's why you normally see Renda.
All right.
yours is better, but.
So yeah, this is staggered attacks because they have to commit to push block. So when they dash at you and then you push them away, if you think they're going to, or I mean, if they dash at you and you push them away, and then you think they're going to redash, so you input another push block, then they don't actually have to, you know, dash. They could like jump up and hit you or something. Because since you have to commit so early to push block, you don't really have time to react too much of anything. You kind of have to just expect them to do it. Which is why, on the off chance that your opponent is really sloppy, and like instead of, you know, hitting you again, they just like dash at you or something, doing the Sako method described earlier is very good because you get to sneak into this crouching jab. I mean, this crouching leg kick. And some applications of this push blocking business. You can see them here. So you saw there, like she used it very defensively. So she push blocked Jeddah away in order to, you know, keep him from continuing the pressure because Jeddah has that amazing high-low game, very scary. And the Jeddah player did not expect the push block to happen. So he goes in for the overhead, but you see he wasn't close enough. And this also gave, his name is Ordercone, the Felicia player, enough time to jump back and jump away. And there's also another one. So right here, Jeddah does a crouching medium kick as a way to keep Felicia from jumping, but she just patiently blocks and push blocks it away. So from here, like instead of just blocking the crouching medium kick and being forced into kind of a disadvantageous situation, you know, she resets the position so she can think of her next move. And her next move is walk forward into jump forward. And she starts her own offense. So you can see how like having push block can throw your opponent off their rhythm. So you can start your own offense and mess up their own attack pattern like that. What else is there? Alright, defending air approaches. Okay. So let me look at this first. Okay, so we talked about how to defend against people that are, you know, pressuring you on the ground. You know, you can patiently block, you can try counter poking them, you can guard cancel, or you can try push blocking. There's, you know, also like Dark Force, which is not very useful. I don't recommend it, but it is there. But primarily you want to push block against ground approaches. Or if you think you can squeeze out a poke, you can try counter poking. Or guard cancel if you feel really daring. I have a really good read. So that's on the ground. Now in the air, when they jump at you, remember air attacks hit high. So you have to stand if you want to block them. So your options, you know, obviously you can just patiently block. But if your opponent jumps at you from a close distance and comes down with a jump in, then you, who are forced to block it, are now at a disadvantage because he can start running his own mix-ups on you. Like, yeah. Like jump in into throw, or jump in into like maybe poke throw, or jump in 720, jump in command throw. If you play a character with high-low mix-ups like Jeddah really quick.
Sweet.
The infinite. I don't think I can do it. Anyway, so like if they're just patiently blocking, and then you come in with the jump in, then you know you have the advantage. So you can start running some pressure. And for someone like Jetta who has really good high-low mix-ups, then you know this is a problem because he can't block at everything. Like how do you fight this? It's very difficult. But in some cases, you do have to just like block, because blocking is always better than getting hit, or almost always. There are certain situations where you want to get hit. Now, another main problem that you encounter with this whole jump in or this whole block against jump ins thing is that they don't have to actually do a high. They can just go low. But this is if, you know, they really expect you to, you know, block. They really think you're going to expect a high. Now, another thing you can do, besides blocking on the ground, is if you don't want to eat this kind of high-low shenanigan, then you can block the attack in the air. And if you do it correctly, then your opponent will land, and you might be able to come down with the jump in after you block the air attack. Like that. Like he wasn't able to like finish his combo, but that is the idea. So it is a very important. This is called chicken blocking. So blocking the air like this is called chicken blocking. And it's good because you recover very fast and you don't have to worry about the whole high-low game. However, this also has a weakness. If he jumps in, or I mean, if I jump in and he chicken blocks, and I do, instead of just like a jump into a low, I do like an air block string, then I can land first and guard crush him. Because remember, you can't block air attacks. I mean, you can't block ground attacks while you're in the air. So this is how you punish chicken blocking. This one?
Didn't you already play that one?
Or is it this one? This one? Come on. Here's a pretty good example here. So right there. So Felicia came in from over here and did a little air block string, but Zabel just as well blocked it in the air and then did his own like little air attack. Felicia was fortunate enough to block it, but this lets him reset the situation back to neutral, and he actually begins his offense from there. So obviously, whether you're going to have to, you know, block in the air and take a guard crush, or whether you can retaliate, it depends on the situation. Here's another situation where Kaji skillfully retaliates while chicken blocking. Now, Raging Demon has 3, 4, 5 frames started. It's about as fast as a jab. So here's Jetta coming in. He's like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna kill you, Lulu. And then she's like, no. That is the risk you take when you jump in. Now, another thing you can do that's not as complicated as air blocking is... Hold on, let's switch sides.
What?
Jump into this. So if your opponent comes in from a bad angle, like he's trying to jump in and then he's trying to hit you, you can anti-air him if you have an appropriate attack. It's trading. Why is it trading?
This move's hell good. Here, I'll give you an easier move. I'm not touching you though.
Yeah, in Dine's words, Jed is poop. Well, it's fine. The point is that let's change characters. The point is that if you have a good move that covers the exact space, the exact vector that your opponent is going to be moving in, then you can anti-air him.
Hold on, let me beat it. I'll beat you.
Yeah, in Felicia's case, like, to cover that
It's
arc...
a lot more reliable.
Yeah, her standing light kick, very good anti-air. Yeah. Die. Back to Shadow.
Alright.
Yeah. There's an example I want to make with this. So obviously anti-airs can lose. Like depending on the situation, as in depending on what button you hit and what button he hits and the timing of the buttons and the angle of the buttons, you may lose or you may win. It's up to you to judge the spacing and judge the situation. So get over here. Just stay there. Jetta's like primary anti-air is crouching medium kick, and just as you can see, it covers the space in front of him pretty good. His standing jab is also pretty good, covers the space that someone may instant air dash at you. But as you can tell, of all of his buttons, he doesn't really have one that covers the space right above his head. This does not count because you're not going to anti-air anyone with it. So in that situation, like get over here, if you have Bishamon at point blank range, and he's like just jumping in forever, oops, yeah. You're not anti-airing this. Not with this move at least. So what do you do about this? What do you do about this? You push block. Because if he does a jump in like that, and you push block him away, and he tries to jump in again, that distance you create is just right for your anti-air like space. Coupled with the fact that you leave blocks done earlier, using push block to set the proper distance for your anti-air attack is very useful. Now that's about it for the defensive techniques, probably the longest section. And that is the bulk of it. Now, after offense and defense, what is there? There is neutral. And it's extremely difficult to explain. So all I can really do is like show you some matches and just give some general advice. Like all I can really say is, learn what your character can do at pretty much every range. So at this range, all of Jetta's normals will whiff. So you're kind of left with, these little side things that he has to maybe close the space and move into a range that he works better at, like this mid range here. See, this range that you can dash at. At close range, you have all your mix-ups. At mid range, you have a more passive approach, or you can just dash in. If they try to jump at you, you can crouching medium kick, anti-air, that kind of thing. So it's really up to you to figure out what your character can do at every range and every angle. Because remember, jumping is viable in this game. Now, for example, if both of your characters excel at close range, like Felicia versus Felicia, for example, or Felicia versus Galen. Then you guys don't do very much at max range outside of like Beast Cannon. But
okay.
primarily you want to get in and start wreaking havoc on them, right? So the trick with like close range versus close range is, how do I get in at the best possible situation? As in, the best possible situation, obviously you hit them into a knockdown, right? But obviously he's gonna be thinking that too, so he might just jump at you and start hitting buttons. So if he wants to jump in and you want to jump in, then you gotta figure out how to work around this. So one option is you can let him jump in, push block something, and reset the situation, throw off his rhythm, and then like jump in as well. Maybe throw in a dash, that kind of thing. If one character, if the character you play excels at maybe far range or mid range, like Jeddah, and you're playing against someone like Felicia who wants to get in, then what does Jeddah do, right? Jeddah doesn't want her to get in. Like, he doesn't have a lot of defensive tools because, he doesn't have an uppercut. He's tall, can't really cover the space that Felicia like jumps in at. So what he wants to do is keep her out. So how do you, as a mid-range player, keep out your opponent who excels at the close range? It's not really a question that's easily answered, because if it was easily answered, then the matchup would be solved. It has to do a lot with using angles. Like, Felicia from like this spacing, like pretend Galen was Jeddah, from this spacing, she can jump in like that, right? So Jeddah wants to get out of that spacing. He could backdash, jump back, maybe use that jump back at a certain timing where she's thinking of jumping in, and using Felicia jumping in and him jumping back as a small window of opportunity to dash in himself from the air and start his own offense. All that kind of like crazy stuff. So for that exact matchup, let me show you a video. So, gonna rewind a lot. So you see that good anti-air, like that walk back, maybe expecting Jeddah to go forward. Standing like kick anti-air. Jeddah creating some space, mixing up his angles, his vectors, not making it easy for Felicia to get in, throwing out sights, mixing up the timing where he's actually starting his own offense. They're fighting for space. Nobody wants to get hit. Felicia gets the dash. This is one example. Like here, Felicia did crouching light kick. Jeddah was probably expecting another crouching attack, which opened the opportunity for her to use this overhead into this damaging combo. And rising overhead from Felicia. Now, Jeddah does have enough time to block a jump in attack from this situation, see? Now he'll recover in time, just in time to block the following attack. But what if she doesn't do a falling air attack? She lands in command grabs instead. This is one of the options to, beat just patiently blocking. And I think he actually might have whiffed a push block attempt. Because when Jeddah push blocks with the light kick button as the starter, then he doesn't really hit that space above his head at all. But he may have just been blocking. He may have expected a jump in into a ground string. So creating space. So after this tech hit, like Shimatsuya or the Jetta player, he recognizes that this tech hit may be like it's thrown him off of his rhythm because he was not expecting the push block at all. Whereas since OrderCon, the Felicia player was inputting it, he obviously wanted it there. So OrderCon probably has a plan to start his offense from this position. So Jetta jumps back. Whereas Felicia, she actually just wanted to, wall jump or something. Jetta gets the first knockdown, or the first down. Playing for more space. Jetta starting his offense. Backing off a little bit. You see how he was backing off here? He was expecting a jump, I believe. Because that would have been the perfect angle for the Felicia player to jump forward. And that would let her get anti-aired. That would cause her to get anti-aired by Jetta's crouching medium kick. This one. But because of the delay, like OrderClone was not jumping, the Felicia player was not jumping right away. But the delay was enough for him to get thrown off his rhythm, because since OrderClone was blocking for a split second longer than he thought he would, he goes in for more pressure and kind of pays for it, not too heavily, but alright, some more tech hits. The important thing to recognize is that when you tech hit something, as in when you push block something, you shouldn't be so antsy. You shouldn't be so aggressive that you will just run back in and try to start an offense again from such a distance. So here, Felicia did the smart move and just walked up and kind of just watched them. Yeah, Dark Force mix up. Very close game. We're gonna have some sights for spacing. Very high pressure situation. You can't really see it, but this section here of Jetta's is white life. So if he eats another bread and butter combo from Felicia, then he would probably die. So he uses the ES scythe to stall, create some distance, buy some time to recover his life back. Okay, his life is recovered, so he starts moving in a little more aggressively now. Not too much so, because he is inches away from dying. Tech hit, throw tech. And he loses it anyway. Oh well. Well, that is basically it for the primer. There isn't much in terms of neutral that I can talk about, so
if you guys have any questions, throw them out now.
Yes. Hey, John. Otherwise, we'll just watch this match video.
Are we getting food?
Yeah, almost done.
Can everyone beat you now?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone has learned VSAP.
Everyone has learned my weakness. I can't push block.
Yo, I can't either. We're the worst on the stream now.
Yeah. What level do I think America's Visa play is at? It's hard to give it a scale. If Japan's a 10 and sewer rats are a 1,
Sewer rats?
sewer rats, I guess we're in between sewer rats and Japan.
Oh, that's a nice scale, man. What would be the middle?
Who would I compare them to? I don't know. Like,
let's say that like a 3 is Madden players.
Hey, they have good API.
should you just watch JP match videos? I would recommend much more so JP match videos than American Play. There are some good American players.
Yeah, like Evil Top 8.
Like Mighty Bar.
Yeah, like Mighty Mar, Dine's a really good player. Dyer is a really good player as well.
Tenkai.
No,
Ka-
that guy sucks. Don't watch him.
Kajak.
Hey, we do have good people. See there.
Flo.
But I don't think we have good references. Because Japanese people have been playing this game for 15 years. And by now, you know, they've honed all these good habits. So you can pretty much just copy exactly what you see. I'll probably have like a set of links in the UBW forum sometime soon. Like, I guess it'll be in the Vampire Saber thread in Fighting Game General. There I will have links to like the Dustlu compendium of Japanese player names. You can look those up on YouTube. I'll have a link to the Mizumi wiki. I'll have some YouTube channels, I think.
How do you play Lord Raptor?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Ask for time.
very vague question. You have to be more specific.
You hit them and don't get hit.
That's like, yeah.
Or you just watch this guy. I think this is Sakai. Sakai is probably like he definitely is the best Lord Raptor in the world right now.
This is weird.
I don't know. What is that?
Slight kick.
Ready?
Wow. It's how close.
Yeah. In any case, I am basically done. So I will leave you guys with a link to some of the best Vampire Saber play in the world. 40 minutes of it. I will post it here. Yeah, it's done. I've been going for 2 hours. Do you have any questions? I'll be here for like a little bit more before we get dinner. I guess we'll watch this in the meantime.
How do you beast cannon? Oh, shit. I got it.
Wait. Oh man, that's loud. Upload this tutorial. I'm not an editor. I guess I can ask to be an editor.
Just ask Brett.
Or ask Brett to do it. Might as well just ask to be an editor if I want to highlight stuff later. I don't think I did a very good job, so I don't know if I want to upload it. But if this is useful to anybody, if this is useful to anybody, I am pleased. What's the tier list? I'll just show it to you. Actually, it's in Japanese, but I'll just go down the list. So here's the matchup chart. I'm sure you can see it. Okay, so from top to bottom, Lord Raptor, aka Zabel, Sasquatch, QB, Gallon, aka Talbane, Albath, aka Rikuo, Felicia, Baletta, aka BB Hood, Bishamon, Lele, aka Xianko, Dimitri, Morgan, Lilith, Jetta, Victor, and Acris. Yeah, Sass is second. Sasquatch is easier to play. It's, you know, pretty much established that he is the easier character. But Zabel is, like, from, you know, just a tools perspective, the stronger character.
Japanese people actually recommend people start with Sasquatch to learn the game.
Well, Raptor has an even matchup against himself. Yeah, the Japanese people recommend what are the 3 characters? We'll just find right now.
Look at his jaw.
It's hungry. I'm hungry. Are you hungry?
Look at his jaw.
It's hella funny.
It's really big.
Yes,
Maybe it's
I did
perspective.
do that.
I don't think so.
Is he here?
Hurts my. Maybe he's a dog.
Does it hurt your face?
Hurts my neck.
He is definitely weak. I don't think anybody will contest that. But if you watch like some of the higher level Jettas, like Shimatsuya and Ouchi, aka Sabermeister, they make that character work. It's like magic. So, recommended characters, highly recommended. Sasquatch, Felicia. That's it.
Shit, man.
Recommended characters, middle. QV, Gallon, Albath, Lilith, Morgan. Recommended characters, Iffy, Zabel, Lele, Baletta, Dimitri, Anacris. Recommended characters, you should just quit. Bishamon, Jetta, Victor. Oh, there you have it.
You should just quit.
You should just quit.
Wonderful.
Okay, it's time to quit.
Yeah, it's time to quit. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope I helped at least one of you. And I hope I motivated more of you to play this game. Because, you know, as you can tell, I'm pretty bad, so if you want to beat me up, just play this game with me. Anyway, I will part with these words. No matter how low tier or how unrecommended your character is, you should just play a character you like and learn him and go through the grind, as opposed to learning a character that you don't really like, but it's easier. Because you should have fun playing this game. And if you have the most fun playing your character, then please do play that character. Oh, see what Gundam am I?
What? What the fuck Gundam is that?
I don't know. What's the brown stargazer? Wait, what's
That sounds gross.
Yeah.
Is it-
Like a Mexican
Sounds too
daydreamer.
Wait, what's Mark?
Oh, sick!
yeah, that's
I'm the
pretty
Rickdom,
sick.
man. Got a poisonous sword. That's cool.
Pretty good.
I don't really care about Shindoms.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
That's what's for.
No, hey.
Oh, you're the same.
We're kind of the same thing.
Except you're not a brown stargazer.
We have different nicknames.
It's better than being called the Brown Star.
I can't come off of standing fierce. Just hell lazy.
Yeah.
So we'll get some good.
Alright. But yeah, whoever is asking what character you should play, play who you like, period. I'll see you guys.